do if they assassinate an American in response?
Well, it's a real mess. We should have done a lot less, a lot sooner. Everybody knows we have CIA agents maneuvering in Iran. We had a drone shot down, maybe 2 drones shot down over Iran. We're getting ready to put very punishing sanctions on them and disrupting the oil market. And you know, they're a very weak nation. They're responding in a natural way, but they don't want trouble because they know they can be annihilated in about 40 minutes, you know, either by Israel or the United States. This idea that they're looking for a fight, I think that is all a concoction of the West, so prepare the people for a war that's likely to come when we have a policy like this. I think it makes the perfect argument for my non-interventionist foreign policy that we shouldn't be engaged in stirring up trouble. And all these things that we do to try to get rid of the regime in Iran right now actually plays into their hands, because once we interfere or put on sanctions, this brings the Iranian people together. They're having an election in a few months, and Ahmadinejad is not that strong politically. But when we interfere as an outsider, those dissidents who are struggling to get control of their country and their government and have a more sensible government, we have to drive them into the arms of the government. Just as we were brought together after 9/11, we were no dissenters. We all came together. There were no Republicans and Democrats. So we have to try to understand how our policies actually do the opposite of what we intend them to do.
We have an impression in this country that they do want trouble, though, because of threats like the one they made to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, through which 1/6 of the world's oil supply flows. If they did that, if you were the president, Congressman, and they shut down the strait, what would you do?
Well, I would tell them I'm not going to put sanctions on them. That's their response. They're not going to close down the Straits of Hormuz. That would be, self-destructive. But they have to say something to try to make us think differently about putting devastating sanctions that's going to really hurt their people, and it's going to hurt the economy. It's going to hurt their Eastern Europe are going to suffer. That's why there's hesitation right now about this. But to say that because they are retaliating with a so-called threat is the problem, I say that is the consequence of the problem, and we should think more broadly than that. And but I think we shouldn't stir that up to the point that anybody thinks they really want to close down the Straits of Hormuz, or they can. I think that's way out of proportion to what they're able to do. They're trying to get attention on how the world is trying to punish them right now, and we're not permitting the dissidents who would like to overthrow their current government to do it, because they're unifying all those people because there's too many foreigners trying to interfere with their internal affairs.
Congressman, let's talk politics for a minute. We had Scott Rasmussen on at the top of the hour, and one of the polls that he just came out with today talks about the person the voters in South Carolina believe would be the weakest opponent to President Obama. You came in first in this poll. 33% thought that you would be the weakest. Huntsman second with 22% of the vote. What do you think about that? That it's an electability question, whether people believe you could beat President Obama.
I think that's a totally unreliable polling, because he might have talked to a few Republicans, but just the other day there was a poll out that showed that I was absolutely equal to Obama in a national race. So I have a lot of support with Democrats and